a lot of the sounds today sounds the same. I would listen to it, but I would not go back to listen to it again. Probably listen to it once. Finished my college, I couldn't continue with my degree. I had to really select what I want to do now. Have that as my top priority. I'm an artist, I've been doing this. I had in the back of my head that this has to be a masterpiece. The names to your songs always sounds like a record we would want to go and listen to. If records don't really have content, I can't really relate to it.
If there are 3 things you've learned a person should focus on to be a high performer, what would they be?
I think,
In this episode, Salim Ghalib shares with us what it was like starting to rap as a teenager in Oman, where there wasn't a hip-hop scene whatsoever, to later sharing the stage with international artists like Neo, Akon, Flowrider, and the list goes on. He also shares with us how tough it was dealing with his mother moving on, as well as he shares with us his growth and evolving journey in the corporate world. This episode has a lot of behind the scenes of an artist, so you get to see what is it like being an artist, especially in a culture that doesn't accept a lot of forms of art. Alright, before we kick off with today's episode, if you can do me the small favor and subscribe to this channel, I'll truly appreciate it, and it'll help me bring you more and more high performers to this show. This is the High Performance Mindset, and today's guest is Salim Ghalib Bawazir. Enjoy this episode. Salim, welcome to the show.
Hayak, bro. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. You know, I want to get different high performers from different walks of life.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs, people in the corporate world, musicians, artists, different walks of life. So, having said that, you're definitely one of the pioneers of hip hop in Oman.
Much appreciate, Sarah, bro. And to be honest, great setup,
Thanks,
Mashallah.
Hey. It's the new passion that, we're diving into.
I remember coming when you first started this, and now, first of all, sitting down here just makes you feel, comfortable, and at the same time, see the progress as far as the passion that you, driving this, basically, let's say that, yeah. So definitely good to be here, Sarah.
All right, let's get straight to it.
Yeah.
So you have so many tracks out there. You have so many music videos. Which video would you would say was your favorite?
I'd have to go with Sprint.
Okay.
To be honest, I'd
Makes
have to go
sense.
with Sprint because it's, and for the most part, is the fact of how it was done, from the very beginning until the execution part, traveling to Berlin.
Walk me through it.
Never shot a video outside the region. And it was something that I had in mind, I wanted to do
You
it.
also have
In
I think
Dubai?
a video in Dubai.
Yeah, in Dubai, yes. I shot
Zanzibar. You didn't?
No, Zanzibar, that
Only
was a show.
performance.
It was just a performance, yeah.
Okay.
But, going to Berlin, that was, for me personally, I think that was the highlight of my music journey, because it was
How did it happen?
It's a funny story, right? Because the track was ready. The record Sprint was, I had recorded it, and it had to finally I had to say, okay, if I want this to be right, I want to shoot a video and it has to be special. But I didn't have the idea. The record was not called Sprint in the beginning. But then I recall I was talking with Nader, Nader, shout out to Chef Nader, of course.
Tanzanite.
Yeah. So, and he was telling me about this guy, this German guy that he knows on Instagram. Not knows, but sort of started communicating with him, started seeing his videos and stuff. And he's like, check this guy out. This guy is brilliant. He has amazing content and stuff. I did actually check out his videos, and I think Nader had already initiated a discussion with him, and he told him that, we've got a friend that's an artist and he would like to work with you and see how you guys can make it happen. And it just happened like very organically, you know. I had a call with him, reached out to him on Instagram first. We started DMing one another, had a call with him, and he told me, send me the track. Sent him the track, and he already told me, like, you know, he's based in Berlin, and he showed me some other stuff he's done. But now, like, all that is fine, you know, like the traveling part, that could all be arranged. But as far as setting up the video, like structure of the video,
Okay.
the racing track, you know, we had a racing track in the video.
A running
you know,
track,
like
right?
a running track, yeah. And we had to go to like this place called East Side Gallery. It's a busy place in Berlin.
It looks like
It's like a.
Is it like a stadium where you have
Yeah,
running?
that was one of the scenes. The other scene was just in the city, you know, where I just mentioned East Side Gallery, and it was a 2-day shoot. So I flew there specifically for that.
Okay.
So that's where the fun started, you know, from actually, you know, the journey from leaving Muscat to Dubai.
Sure, it was
And
exciting.
then Dubai straight to, you know, I think it was Frankfurt or something. But then I ended up taking a train to Berlin, and everything just happened like 2 days later because I didn't want to shoot the next day. I had like some days to just prepare, and everything just started happening while I reached in Berlin. Like things just started taking place, ideas, and the guy was very professional. That's like hands down, you know. He called me for a meeting before the video, like a day before, walked me through the whole agenda, saying that scene 1 will be here, scene 2 will be here. So I just felt like, okay, for me, this really stood out, you know. And it's something that if going back and thinking about it, I'm like, I actually did it. You know, I actually made it happen because we talk about wanting to go overseas and shoot a video and stuff, but it's different when you actually execute it and you direct the video on your own, because I'm the one that, it was all my ideas, by the way.
Okay,
No, he made it, one thing he told me from the very beginning, that he is not going to direct the video, but he will support as far as like, if there is any idea on spot, he will like collaborate with me or say, okay, why don't we do this and do that? But everything as far as like the running track, the scenes, the city, and it was something that
he left it to you.
I had in mind, like, let's do it my way, as far as how verse 1 starts, and then the switch to the hook, and then verse 2.
But how did the ideas come up? I mean, like, it's not like you know Berlin, so
Yeah, that's a good question actually, because
I mean, like, if it's like let's say in Dubai, or let's say if it's Oman, like I know the scenes,
Exactly.
So I can, you know.
I spoke to him and I asked him before going there. I forgot to mention this point. I asked him, I'm like, can we get a running track on the video?
Okay, you already
You know?
had the idea.
Yeah, because the song, you know, on the sprint like I'm Usain Bolt. So I wanted, you know, it's basically the record speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So I spoke to him about it, and luckily that on that week I was coming, because I gave him the dates. There was Berlin Marathon taking place.
Okay.
It just so happened to be.
Oh,
And this guy knows the runners. Like, he's got like some mutual friends with some of them, and he's got like, you know, he has that network
okay.
with, I think they had this community called Berlin Braves or something like that, or Braves, but I'm not sure. But he had a network that he said, okay, I can speak to them. That you know, I've got this artist that's coming down and he would like to shoot a video in Berlin, and let's see what they say. And funny enough, they're all down for it, because they didn't really need to do anything, because they were going there to warm up. It's not like the marathon was happening that week, but it was, I think, the following days or something. But they were warming up. They were like practicing for the marathon. So I just happened to be there. He shared with me the location, everything, and he's like, they're all down. And the vibe started actually before getting to the set. He was introducing me to the runners, because, you know, they just had to, you know, have a feel of the record. They wanted to listen to the record.
Okay.
And just like, not necessarily participate in the video, but they're going to be working out, normally doing their thing, but they just wanted to.
What was the
Oh,
reaction?
They loved it, you know.
Okay.
Because for them it was like something new.
Okay.
You know, someone coming from, you know, Oman, and they were not familiar of Oman. I had to tell them, like, you know, it's next to Dubai and so on. That's when everything just started. And I have some of them, like, funny enough, till today, they reach out whenever there is something that, you know, whenever I release any record, or whenever they just want to communicate for the sake of, you know. So for that was like the exciting part, I'll say. It's just that having the runners just feel the music and everything just happened organically.
What do you feel one of the lessons that you came out of that experience?
Oh, it was like, as far as the lesson of, I would say one thing, the lesson that from that experience was, you know, driving my passion, I'd say. And sky's the limit, you know, and don't limit yourself, like, to what you have around your circle, yani. I looked at it like it's something I always wanted to do, but I was probably like holding myself, you know. And if you can get to the point of leaving your country or your hometown and going out and shooting a video, that's one thing that I said, okay, will I do it again? Yes, I will. But maybe next time I will work with a director, or finding a director in advance, let's say, before actually going to the city and just penning things out down. Because yes, I had the vision, but at the same time, I needed like someone to support me and just, you know, the logistics part and coordinating with me on some other things, like, you know. So I think it would be better preparation, maybe. You know, this is something that I'll definitely like consider moving forward if we get the chance to, inshallah.
Yeah. Do it again.
Yes, definitely.
If we go back in time, when did you start making music?
Okay, I started making music. It was late 90s, but that was like I was.
How old were you?
Back in school, to be honest. That's like we really started, but we started by imitating artists. So I won't say really like started as, you know, as G, and we just imitating like today. We were together on it, you know, me, you, and and the gang. And it started by imitating artists. I would imitate this artist today to more that artist, and
I mean,
it was all about the tapes of those days. It was no.
I think it's a very beneficial exercise for artists to do so, like to just have fun and imitate different artists.
Yeah,
it will definitely bring out different sides of yourself that you will not be able to know until you just push yourself to different limits. Correct. And then over time, I believe that's how we created our sound. I mean,
yes.
We were imitating. I mean, like, of course, you already had the talent of imitating people.
Yeah.
So you were doing it way better. But I was still enjoying.
Can still
the
do
game.
it, by the way. We can still No, but it's true. It's true. I think.
And I think even another thing, like, I don't know if other artists do that, but having a list of imaginary characters, I think it helps. Funny enough, like one of the characters became our sound, which is,
it's true,
for those who don't know, you know, can you describe who is Mutsu Black?
Oh man, to be honest, you're right. You know, some imaginary artists help.
I remember I used to come
an imaginary track list that we used to do for some of these artists, and like, funny enough, I remember like every time.
Because I would walk in, because you guys had like a library.
Yeah.
So I would walk in and I would see this paper, and has like, it's an album.
Yeah,
like, there's an album. I see featurings.
Yeah.
I don't know any of these artists.
It's true.
One time I come back and then
see a paper in 1 to 19, 1 to 16.
Yeah, big albums.
And then you see like intro.
Disc 1, disc 2, like.
Yeah. And every time I used to do that.
At the beginning, I would ask and I would not get an answer. You and Ahmed would just ignore.
Try to like keep it a secret. Because thing is, I would write like, back to this imaginary artist, would write like albums and create the name of the artist, create a record company that's an imaginary record company. And it's funny because it was just me and my brother that understood this world of just creating people that don't exist. So every time I'll go to him, I'm like, oh, I have this album, read the track list. And he would have his pen and he would like click. He would tick on the songs that, oh, I can imagine this is a good song. This is a good song. It's like, oh, this is a nice name. Okay, this song sounds boring. These songs don't even exist. But because of that and these titles and the track list and the names, believe it or not, it helped me coming up with names of my own records. Like even today, funny enough. You know, like the one thing that I noticed, alhamdulillah, and I got it from like, you know, different people as far as feedbacks and everything, like the names to your songs always sounds like a record we would want to go and listen to. Like whether you like it or not, but as soon as they see the name, they're like, whoa, okay. I can, because picking records or picking names of the songs, sometimes I could take time. It would be the last thing to do, to consider. But then when I pick the name, that's when like I'll have people be like, wow, this is a good one, or this is a good title, you know? Because for me, it matters. For some people, it doesn't. But for me, if I'm going to select a title or a track name...
Yeah, I think it does play a role. I mean...
It does play a role. You know, like I wouldn't just name a song like, you know...
Any part of the verse or...
Yeah, you know, or just a normal... I don't know, like for me, I take it quite serious. So, you know, back to how we started, that's really how it is, you know, imitating. And then fast forward to early 2000s, you and I, you know, started collaborating on making some tapes. Or we had like one tape, and Ali and Ahmed were working on a, like they were like, I would say like in an advanced sort of movement. Like they were already on the CD world. Yeah, we were not there at that time. We were still recording tapes and instrumentals.
Yeah.
And then it just happened, you know, like DK formed itself, you know, and records after records. You know, that was
how would you if you tell me like in terms of the progression,
yeah,
what was the next phase, you feel?
From DK, like for me it was first
from starting with tapes and
like
just starting
DK was
trying out.
DK set the platform for all of us, I believe, because that was like, you know, a stepping stone, like as far as like, okay, now we're doing this right. There's a studio, we have beats, we're like 5 artists.
And your family,
we're all different, families supported,
yani, for us to have a place, otherwise we'd have to, you know, go and rent.
You know, like this is something that, you know, we had a studio for how many years in my place, yeah. You recall it was a run, yeah. You know, it was like a good 4 or 5 years. Yeah. And like you guys would come through and we just started like literally sitting down, working on music, you know, and that was, if you recall, like we didn't know that this was serious in the beginning. We were just young adults having fun, you know, just not thinking, just enjoying the moment, literally. You know, you played a part as far as producing with Ali on records that aged well till today. Like think about it, you know, we have records that people still listen to, like, and still vibe with it, yeah. And Ahmed, of course, you know, with his verses, his contribution to really spending hours in recording one verse, that shows you commitment. Yeah. You know, I think, I don't know, I won't say I was the least committed, but I was one of those.
No, I mean, you played a different role.
In my own way, because I would listen to a record and write, get the flow according to plan, or get the flow in place, and then I'm out.
I mean, especially like with later when I started focusing more, getting more involved in making sure us as a team continue to move forward.
Yeah.
Right? Like I used to always sit on everybody's head to finish their part.
Yes.
Right? But I never needed to do that with you.
Yeah. I think it was that take that I had, like 1 take, 2 takes, at most 3.
Not just that. I mean, like
On the floor as
you
well.
need to start writing first.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
You need to start writing first. You need to decide, okay, I'm going to go ahead with this from what I wrote,
Yeah.
And I used to do, most of the times I would write the first verse, not just because I want things to move.
Yeah.
And usually it's the hardest thing to do because sometimes, when we hear the beat, we don't know how to deal with it.
No.
And it makes it easier when someone else jumps on the beat. Then you're like, oh, okay.
So once someone goes on the second verse, let's say, it kind of like
I mean, the verse, we don't know whether it's going to be first or second or third.
Yeah.
But just the first person to go and record.
It's true. It's true.
It's true. And I was like, I know I'm taking this risk, but I'm doing it so the rest of the team will.
So we can get the ball
rolling. Get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm saying, like from your side, even if right after you wouldn't take time. That's one.
Yeah.
And number 2, you'd be the guy on the road. Like basically in terms of go and meet up with the DJs, with the promoters. You are that guy. You are that guy. And then later on, fast forward, you had your events company.
My events management company.
It made perfect sense.
It's true. I enjoyed that. I like the tickets, like going to meet this DJ, going to meet that.
I never wanted
to
get involved
with
this
event and going there and selling the tickets and
flyers.
And like I remember like going even, I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be rehearsing now with the team, but I'm literally out and about selling tickets. I'm like, okay, for one, I was doing it because I know these people were coming to see us. And I wanted them to obviously have that experience to get their tickets in advance as opposed to come to the door. You remember that whole, if you're late at the door, it gets too busy, then they jack the prices up and all that. So I wanted to make sure that our crowd and the people that generally support us get their tickets in advance.
Taken care of, yeah.
And they're sorted like for their families, their friends, etc. So, and I remember I would do that, and then I'll come back, and you guys are all there like lining up, discussing what goes first, what goes next, like as far as the songs. And that was a beautiful part, the teamwork as far as making these decisions.
Yes.
Like we would disagree, but then in the end
we take a vote.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And if you recall, we'd always start with a record that's a hip hop song. It was that Fly Shorties, if you remember that.
Okay.
That Arabian sound, and we would start with that because it has an energy, and it's like pure hip hop. Like everyone's rapping on that song. Would be me, you, Ahmed Ghalib, like straight up, yani. Everyone is just laying their verses, and it's literally a song that everyone goes harder than the other. I think Ghalib starts, then I'm second, then you're third, Ahmed's 4 verses, which obviously does not exist today. But it was like literally 4 verses on that song. And then the hook, that was the song never got recorded. If you think about it, we never recorded that song.
No, it was just like a
but
performance
version. But it was always
version.
a crazy live performance whenever we'd get on that song, Good days. Good days, yeah. And then of course, Pony, Hot Like Fire, these are all records that I would say today the hit songs of DK. Whenever you mention DK, these 2 songs come on top. Top of the list, Pony, Hot Like Fire. And then everything else, this was good. Someone would say that was good.
And I think the time where our records got tested is when we went to X Games in Dubai.
Yeah, X Games was that's a highlight, to be honest.
Tell me about it.
I think X Games,
for those who
personally was the biggest highlight that we had as far as
Yes.
a group.
A group.
Yeah, definitely. Because we didn't know what to expect. You know, we received, I think it was an email that we received. Ali at that time was the one who was communicating with them, and we were called for. Oh, sorry, not called. We had to compete with so many artists in the region, and
In Dubai.
in Dubai, yeah. And we were like 6 of us, road trip to Dubai for this. It was in a mall. We had to audition, not audition, but it was a competition to see who would be the artists that would perform in the big stage, in Dubai Creek, actually. Remember the place as well?
Yeah.
You know, and we came out first, second, and third. You know,
Yeah, because
Hot Like Fire came out first. She Loves Me Not, Ahmed. We had to divide the group.
yeah, that told us like
We
last
didn't-
second.
Exactly, we didn't know. That's why I was like, literally, we were going there, not knowing what to expect. Just hungry young adults going to a city that's next to us, you know, and Dubai being Dubai, obviously, like the city of artists to date, actually. But at that time, I don't even think there were artists that we knew that were from Dubai. Like,
No, we didn't. I mean,
we
like,
didn't really
it
know,
was-
but we knew that.
I remember it was like a Middle East Arab world hip hop competition. It was
Correct.
something like that,
Yeah.
and whoever wins gets to perform at the X Games, ESPN,
Yes.
and
yes.
it will get
They
viewed
will get viewed in
on
music,
Music Now.
Yeah, we got
It's
viewed
like,
on music. Yes,
that like created so much pressure.
it was.
But I was
pressure.
like, you know, this will be. We'll get to know like where we're standing, you know,
and have like
because
new-
here in
new
Oman
audience.
we were just dominating.
yeah.
You know, everybody comes to our performances. We have people, yani, players from the national team.
Yeah.
Ahmed Kanu, Khalifa
Correct.
Ail.
Correct. And if you
Oh,
think
I'm
about it, like we had, like both eights were always ours.
Always.
2 eights, like we'd have. There'd always be like different hosts collaborating with DK,
Yeah.
or DK would be performing or whatever. So when we were going to Dubai, that was like, okay, now this is serious. Like it's a new market, you know. Yes, it's just around the corner, but it's a new market, different audience, you know, very diverse. So getting there and getting on that stage after we were given first, second, and third, this is when I was like, wow, okay, alhamdulillah, this is something that's, you know, it's definitely an achievement. And then that backstage, you know, movement, the fans and people cheering and supporting, the energy was different, totally different. You know, like that big stage, like one thing is having a decent crowd, but a stage,
A
like
stage
a
was-
concert stage, that was
Yeah.
like,
Great times.
flashbacks, you know.
Flashbacks. Flashbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, the crowd's reaction was.
Yeah, the crowd
It's crazy.
and just, you know, everyone performing to Hot Like Fire and just singing along and just supporting and showing love. That was
Coming off stage and people wanting
was-
autographs.
it was a movie, to be honest. You know, it was literally like a movie. And
And then they called us the year after to go back and perform again.
it's true. The year after was literally, it was like that showing appreciation. You know what? You guys come back again. We appreciated your show. Want you guys to come back, and there was no competition. There was no nothing. But I enjoyed the year we went first time because the group was.
Yeah, we were all
Because
of
the
us.
second time, like it was me, you and Ahmed, and like
It was-
Ghalib was out of town already. Ali was focusing more on the production side, and we had to record like, if you remember, like we had to record like 3 songs,
3 new songs.
3 new songs before the show.
Yeah, because whatever tracks we had, probably we're not all in the same track.
Exactly.
And also we needed, like, out of experience, we learned that we need tracks that are hype.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you know,
Definitely, we needed energetic records.
energetic
Yeah.
records.
And like you said, you know, the majority of the songs, if you remember, Ali was on it. So now Ali's not coming.
Yeah.
We need to have like a plan B. But what's the backup plan? So recording those 3 songs. It was rush, rush, rush. And then we went to Dubai. We nailed it, but it was just, again, you know, the energy was, it just felt different.
Felt different, yeah. I
felt
mean, like, it's
different,
always,
to be honest.
you know, the bigger the group, it's more
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But also,
that was a moment to be
when we
honest.
went to Creative Kingdom Studios, which was at the
Oh
time.
yeah, that was in 05. That was 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2005. And for me, that was also like, I think we ended up getting connected with Sal.
Yeah, through DJ Alwi.
بالضبط, yeah. And then we went there and we met up and he was there with
With
the
Q.
other guy, Q, yeah.
Yes.
And it was the biggest studio in Dubai, like all these international artists.
When they
would
come to
record
Dubai,
there.
yeah, they come to record there.
And they already heard of us.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, you know, Sal was introducing me to, I think you guys were probably in the other room or something.
Yeah.
One of the guys from, what is it called? Army of One.
Yeah.
Army of One. And when he introduced him, he said, you know, this guy is a DK. And he's like, yeah, oh, I know them. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah,
I was
yeah,
surprised
yeah.
because, you know, back in the days, like it's no social media or.
It's true.
And especially, we didn't even push our records. It's just being leaked.
It was being
And that's
leaked.
about
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think at that time specifically, it was just us and them. Like
yeah,
Oman
in the-
was
in-
us.
Yes, in the Middle
Kuwait
East.
was Army of, and
Yes,
that's it.
yes.
Like everyone else did not exist, or probably they did, but no one knew them.
They had, I would say, a plus that they had is they had music video.
Yeah,
You
they had
know?
a record company actually.
They had
at
a
the
record
time. They had a
company,
record
you
company.
know?
They were getting distribution deals left, right, and center. But like they had the support already, you know. But one thing, and we talked about this as well, that we didn't have the business mindset at that time.
Definitely something if,
You know, it was fun times.
yeah,
We did
if
not
I
think
would
of anything
do,
else, you know, like
would have done it differently is that, you know, we hire somebody
Yeah.
to be our music manager, you know.
Correct.
To just focus on that and we just
Completely.
focus on the music
You know?
part
completely. Yeah.
rather than trying to do everything
We-
ourselves.
it was like literally we're trying to wear many hats, and it did not fulfill. Like at some point, we know that we were worth X amount, but if no one is there to actually tell us, okay, you guys should be doing this, you guys
Especially
should-"
that we were,
and we didn't think about these things, you know.
no,
We were kids.
yeah.
We just enjoyed the moment, and we were just having fun making music.
And
That's
there's
it.
no, like, right now, there's a lot more information
Of
about
course.
how to make it in the
Yeah,
music
yeah,
industry.
yeah.
But back in the days, you have no information. All you have is just watching music videos,
Exactly.
and that's about it.
Like there's a lot of key factors that really stopped us in not, you know, reaching our goal to a certain degree because nothing existed. It was only MySpace at some point that
Yeah. For you to put your tracks on, yeah.
where you put your tracks, and it's not even the full track. It's like just
A snippet.
and that's it. You know.
All
That
right,
was,
so-
alhamdulillah. That was. These are all good moments. You know, you go back and you think about it. You're like, we accomplished a lot. Alhamdulillah. You know, we definitely set the bar and.
Honestly, like, it was definitely
and
always
made
an
things
honor
happen.
whenever one of the football players from the national team come,
Yeah.
you know, to our performances. It was always an honor, you know, to get their support. And it's not like once, you know.
It's true. They would actually follow up on when is the next show.
Shout out to Ahmed Kano.
Yeah. You'd actually ask when is the next show and
Even
they
different
showed up.
locations, they would come.
You would always find them somewhere. Definitely.
What is it called? So after the X Games phase, and you know, I think not long after that, I moved to Dubai,
Yeah.
and I started my solo career there, and you started your solo career here.
Yes.
So-
2009 to be specific. It was
How-
when I initially started, you know.
How was that transition for you?
Oh man, it was difficult at the very beginning, to be honest. Like
Okay.
I did not expect that it would be like this challenging, you know, as being solo artist because I didn't want to accept it in the beginning.
What kind of challenges you faced?
Being on stage on my own, you know, going around and making these, you know, deals here and there, and one thing that I remember this happened before everyone going solo. There was a show that we had in Dubai, and it was supposed to be DK, and that's how it was programmed. DK is performing, but at that time everyone was like, you had already moved to Dubai. Ahmed had already like sort of stopped. You know, he was not necessarily, he lost interest, but it was just not his priority at that point. Ali started focusing on the production side. Ghalib left Oman. Actually Ghalib was with me, funny enough. We go to Dubai, and they were like, all right, we asked for DK. This is not DK. It's just you two.
Oh. So they knew the whole group.
Yeah. Like, we know the group and this and that. And it was the first time I actually have a show with Desert Heat. They had a show in Dubai. I was opening up for them. And I'm like, yeah, the group does not exist right now. I'm actually starting my solo career right now. And this is my cousin. He's with us in the group. But, you know, moving forward, it's just going to be me. And he didn't really appreciate that response. But, you know, the show has to take place. So it was actually, you know, from supposedly having a half an hour set to it ended up being 15 minutes probably.
Like, was that planned or they cut it short?
They cut it short because, you know, it did not meet their expectation. But that was fine. You know, for me,
it's a learning
bro,
curve.
I'll be honest with you, I was okay. I was like, let it be. You know, I'm not gonna go on half an hour. Fast forward to that, 2009, that was like officially I announced that, okay, now SG, solo artists, Facebook page, live, and all that other things that come with it. The shows that started taking place were not the very best shows because of, you know, first of all, like, what I expected when I was with the group was very different when I started, like, being on stage on my own. I started realizing that, okay, people want to see the group, but now they need to adapt to this sort of change. So yeah, like, I think the shows that just was there were good shows, and I had a lot of shows like back to back at that point, but it was challenging because now I have to be a hype man. I have to be the guy that's performing.
Was that so? Now that show, was it part of? You did like a mini tour, like with Desert Heat, like 2 performances in Dubai.
Yeah, that was
that part of it?
It was all during the same time. It was all during the same. But before the actual tour or this mini tour, I had shows on my own, and I was taking these, you know, little shows just to get that confidence back, to get on stage and just, you know, it was like a warm up for me being an artist on my own. But I started realizing that, you know, the crowd that were coming through, like once upon a time, this same crowd were coming for DK, cheering, supporting, and everything. But now, I started having that, like, okay, what's going on with the resentment of? I wasn't
They were not reacting the same way.
Exactly, they were not reacting the same. So in my head, I'm like, is it me? You know, you have all these questions all these questions were running in my head. But I just try to always just try to remain positive. And I was like, you know what? If this will just make me stronger, like, you know.
A turning point, like, for you to maybe try adapt in a different way?
Yeah, there was, you know, because, like, as I mentioned, there was like shows after shows that were taking place, and it was not really good shows. I have supporters, like obviously family, that would clap, support, showing love and everything. But the same people that were showing me love at one point and would somehow, like, once the show is done, they were just like, oh, good show. And sometimes, and for the most part, it was not even my fault. Like, there was distortion because of the sounds, right?
Yes.
But now when the sounds are being placed, or there's an issue with the sound, let's say,
Yeah. The artist takes the blame.
it would look like you're not performing.
The artist takes the blame.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's
It's like having a song that's not mixed. They won't know the engineering part of, or the whole process, right?
yes.
That it's not mixed well, or I said, oh, he doesn't sound good in the
They'll
song.
say the artist is not professional or whatever.
Thank you very much. So that's what was happening.
Okay.
And it happened like more than once, like at least a couple of times. And then this tour took place. I went to Dubai, show was phenomenal, you know. You were with me on stage, big up, you were supporting, you were hyping the crowd as well. And the next day, we were going to Oman. And Oman, you know, that's my city, Muscat. It was my birthday, you know. So
Nice.
now I'm like hyped, looking forward. And, you know, Desert Heat and the guys, they're like, oh, we're coming to your city. And I'm like, yeah, and guess what? It's my birthday as well. They're like, oh, this is amazing. There's a lot to do. And I'm like, yeah, you know, definitely we're going to show you guys a good time, yeah, you know. They drove to Oman. We came before the show. We spent some time hanging out. Then during the show, it was not a busy event, to be honest. Like, I think the marketing was not right.
Okay.
For whatever reason. There was no one. There's barely people. And it was a massive hall. And they would come to me like, hey, where's
everybody?
where's everyone? I'm like, it's not my event. I'm an artist like you guys. You know, it's not like, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not part of this whole marketing thing and all that, you know. You guys need to check with the event organizers. Anyways, when it was time for the performance, and this is when I will never forget, this one show, you know when they tell you there are shows that you just will never forget? Like, forget all those shows that had issues with the sounds or whatever. This specific show, this is when I'm like, wow, what a switch. I was on stage, and I was performing, and I didn't really find people interacting with me at that time. Like, everyone was seated back. Some people were not really showing love. I had my cousins as always on the front row, but everyone else was, I had this cold feeling. I didn't get it.
Okay.
You know, and I'm like, serious? On my birthday? You know? And I was, to be honest, I was down. You know, like even once the show was done, my cousin was like, oh, great show. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's all right, you know. Some people that were supposed to come did not even come. So I'm like, all right, these guys get on stage.
And the market is like, it's not, I can't even say it's so small. It's less than small. So
Exactly.
you really depend
You
on,
really depend, you count
on your people.
on
Yeah,
your
you know,
people.
yo,
Yeah.
make sure you come, you know.
Yeah, you count on your people, like,
And-
and I was doing that, but because I was in Dubai and I was busy with other things, I couldn't really like pick up the phone and call each
You
one.
have
Are
to
you coming?
be
Are you coming? No, I was in
Promoter,
Dubai.
manager,
Yeah,
marketer.
I can't do all that. Like, you know, give me a break, you know. So these guys get on stage, and they went crazy. Crowd, basically.
Okay.
Crazy. They had like a hype artist. Outlaw is the DJ. And this other guy just didn't have any mic or anything, and he was just interacting with the crowd. I stood back and I'm like, wow. But you know what? That specific event or that night, I said, okay, there must be something that I'm doing wrong. It's not the crowd.
Okay.
You know, just leave the crowd alone. I'm not gonna, you know, go at them or sort of like put them blame or something. I was like, I think I need to do something with me. I need to work on my craft. So I took a step back and I said, okay, you know, let me take this as a positive moment as opposed to, you know, feeling down and so on and so forth. And I'll work on the next time I have a show. I need to be if I'm not gonna be the person that's gonna hype the crowd, I need to make sure that I have someone that's gonna hype the crowd. I need to get someone that would collaborate with me, you know, as a guest artist with me on stage. I need to get the right DJ because I didn't have that. I didn't have a DJ. It was one of the DJs of the event was DJing, you know, me while I was performing. So all these things were points that I've taken into consideration.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, now it's a switch. Funny enough, it motivated me to work extra hard now on my performance because I knew I had good records. I knew that I could write. I had the melodies and everything, like everything was on point as far as the production side. But when it comes to the live performance, that's where I said, okay, I need to really work hard on that. Yeah, and with time, you know, there was another show, a big show, that took place after the tour, and it was supported. It was a Red Bull event.
Okay.
Bigger than this event or this mini tour that took place, and artists were coming from Lebanon. Malika was actually coming. She was the main act.
Okay.
You know, and she was coming with a different
Shout out to
MC,
Malika.
and, yeah, and DJ Lethal Skills. And
If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw her on a post like she's going to be performing with Freak.
Oh, serious?
Yeah, fun enough.
Maybe Saudi or
Because I
know that
can't
there's
recall
something
where is the
happening
performance.
in Riyadh right
Whether
now.
it's in Riyadh or it's in Abu Dhabi, I don't know, or
Okay.
Dubai.
Wow.
But yes,
The fact that she's still doing it, you know.
yeah.
Props to her, to be honest, you know, because she was good.
Yeah, and she was unique.
her
Like at that
energy
time,
was
as
mad.
Arabic, you know, rapping in Arabic,
Exactly.
you know,
It was
female rapper.
It was rapping in Arabic at that time was
Yeah.
not
Super pioneer.
was not a thing, you know.
At all.
Yeah. Like,
I
look at
mean,
it today.
It was, I think, I only knew two people, like especially coming out of Lebanon, would be Aksa Seir and Malika.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, Aksa Seir was a group, and Malika it was solo. Yeah, but
And
yeah.
she was a big artist at that time, and she was coming to Oman, and like I said, like the flyer was, she was the main act, and then there was an MC and DJ Lethal Skills.
She was probably working with Frederick, I think.
Frederick was there as well. Frederick was coming. It was MTV Arabia.
And for those who don't know who's Frederick, like Frederick worked on tracks with Snoop.
Yeah.
A lot of other guys from the West Coast.
Exactly. And he was in Dubai at that time.
Yeah,
I think
part
he
of
was,
MTV Arabia.
MTV Arabia,
Yes.
MTV Arabia. It was that MTV Arabia season, actually.
I think
And,
Qusay and Frederick had a show.
Correct.
Yeah.
Something Hip Hop Arabia or something. I'm not sure, but Frederick was coming to Oman,
Okay.
and now I didn't at first, because obviously social media did not exist. I had no idea about the show. So I get introduced to the Red Bull country manager at that time, Nader, once again. He was there with the Red Bull country manager. They were talking, and he mentioned, I'm looking for Omani hip-hop artists. And I happened to be there at that time. And Nader was like, yeah, my friend is just here. So they introduced me. And he did not accept me in the very beginning.
Okay.
And he said, okay, you know what? Come to the office and give me your demo. I want to hear your records. I was like, fine. I went to him first thing in the morning, Saturday those days. It was, this tells you how long it was, because Saturday was a working day.
Oh, okay.
So go to the office, sit down in his office, and there were like 5 records. Out of 5, he liked 1. You know?
Okay.
And the rest of the other records, he felt like it was not mixed well. He's like, I don't know, you don't sound right. It sounds messy and everything. So everything that this was all in 2009, by the way. So everything that I started like realizing at that time, one, the previous show that I had was terrible because of, now it's like, okay, now I need to perfect the mixing. So I went back, I spoke to Ali. Ali was in Dubai those days. I'm like, listen, I think we need to work on the mixing, because that one record that he liked was the record that you really mixed well.
Okay.
Then he told me, he's like, yeah, because, I spent time on this record. It was hours. It's not easy. And, I've got my other
also
things
it's a
going
challenge, like for producers to produce and do the audio engineering
Exactly.
part.
The audio. So I was like, yeah, but, just I need this, so I really need to work on the mixing for the other records, and moving forward, this is what we need to do. We need to have a masterpiece. You know, on every record needs to be a masterpiece. So, like, we started communicating, me and the Red Bull country manager, and then he asked for some pictures. Imagine all this, and he still did not confirm that I'm performing. Until he saw my commitment, and my, like, the follow-ups were crazy. And he said, you really want this, do you? I'm like, listen, I will not let you down, trust me. You know, I'm an artist, I've been doing this, you know, and I'm not sure if I gave him some of the DK songs or some videos, I can't really remember. But then he's like, you know what? I got you, Yanni. You know, considering that you're very determined, I see your passion about this, you're definitely included on the show.
Okay.
Just bear with me a couple of days till we finalize the flyer and this and that. I'm like, all right. And it was December 2009. I remember that specific month, day, weather was good. And I had in the back of my head that this has to be a masterpiece. So I got Aziz to be my hype artist.
Okay.
Although that was not his thing, but at the same time it was. Don't forget, he was
Yeah, I mean, he's very comfortable with the crowd.
Yeah, he's the guy that supported us in the hype artist in X Games. Remember, DK?
He was, right?
Yeah, at one point, he has that energy. And,
Yeah,
and you know, he said, as soon as I spoke to him, he was like, bet, I'm coming, you know? And then I had another guest artist with me on stage as well. And I had a DJ, I can't remember which DJ that, so everything was planned. Like, we literally went, like when we went for the sound check, we were all there.
Okay.
So when I ran into, I think it was the first time I'm meeting Malik and all these other artists.
Okay.
So when they saw me with my team, they were like, okay. And we were introduced, yeah, this is SG from Oman, this is that, this is, you know, as always, you know, very casual. Yeah, okay, good looking out, all the best, so on and so forth. But when my sound, because my sound check was before them. So when my sound check started, that's when they're like, whoa. Okay.
They didn't expect.
Yeah, the beats. So I had like really selected different sounds, and the beats were really mixed well for a live show. And show took place.
Shout out to Amri Productions.
Definitely, you know, he came through with a massive you know, production on these records. And finally, like, my set was first, obviously, because I was opening up for them. The crowd went crazy.
Nice.
It was like, my brother was there, I remember, and he said, no, I witnessed it. Because he would tell me straight up, yeah, he'd be like, listen, I think you could have, but I started interacting with the crowd, you know, pausing the music at one point, you know, getting the crowd's feel, playing the music again, like, funny enough, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was one of the first shows I ever had that lasted almost half an hour.
Okay, that's a long performance.
Yeah, it was a long one. Definitely a long show, you know.
Okay.
And you guys came through from Dubai as well, you know. You and Ali came.
Was it the same one?
It was the same.
Okay.
But the thing is, you know, it was that one track, because we did Hot Like Fire in the end.
Okay.
And I was trying to, like, because the show was supposed to be at 10, but I kept on pushing. I was talking to Ali, and Ali was like, yeah, we're here, we're stuck in the border, or then we hit. So it was like,
you know, trying to
back
delay
and
it so
forth,
we can make it.
Trying to delay it as much as possible so you guys can actually make it for the show. Once the show was done, you guys came through, the whole team was there. I was like, you know, super relaxed. And I'm like, okay. I actually went back home smiling that day, and I'm like, okay, we did this, you know? Because the previous show, like, this show really just compensated on what the other shows, you know, really, you know, sound like, or how it was overall. And it was a starting point, because it was a show that made me partner with Red Bull after that, or it gave me that exposure as far as being the official brand ambassador for Red Bull after that show.
And then also, was that when you started your events company?
Later, not that same year. I think it was, I started the events management company in 2011. I was still with Red Bull at that time.
Okay.
And they supported it, by the way, because, you know, I was going to all the events, and I had to perform on some of their events as an artist, as being a brand ambassador. That was my role as well. I needed to understand exactly what my role is. For they were explaining to me that this is what I need to do. So there would be an opening there. I would, like during break times, I would come and perform like one or two songs, you know, just making an appearance on any Red Bull event. And some events I would just like attend as far as just being with the team, like with Red Bull, and different kinds of events I'd be participating in, you know. And there was a transition when the country manager was leaving, and then another guy was coming. So even that went very smooth. Like he said, this is our guy, you know, take care of him. You know, he's an Omani artist. This is what he does.
Nice.
And they really supported, because he was not, at that time at least, he was not just supporting me with their brand or supporting me with, it was also supporting me financially, sponsoring me on events that needed to be, that I needed their sponsorship, you know?
Yeah, I mean, especially at that time, it was difficult, it's not the word, like to get sponsorship or any sort of financial support for music. It was definitely, I guess, a big milestone, huh?
Oh, 1,000%. And it helped me coming to that point of starting my own events management company. You know, the events management company was like a thing that I created to let everyone know what's next on SG's, you know, journey.
Okay.
You know, so some events would just be very private, you know, very selective people, and some events would be like, okay, I have a release, I have a video launch, so you guys should join us. And I would sponsor my own events supported by Red Bull.
Okay.
And, you know, so that went on, like the number of video launches that we had, and then Lamborghini came through, because I had Lambos on my videos, in one of my videos, actually.
Yes,
we had the Lamborghinis, they came through. And yeah, these were like, you know, big moments. Big moments, definitely.
But and then you did cut off making music at some point.
Yeah, like I took a back seat, you know, like, because I think it was after Akon's concert, because we opened up for Akon when he came to Oman. And the same time, I was joining a new company.
Okay.
I was joining a new sector altogether.
Okay.
Because I had started from telecom to banking, and now I'm going to oil and gas, you know, and new sector, new role. And this is when I had to park the music journey for a bit.
So how long was the break?
For a couple of years. But when, like, I was still writing, I was still like behind the scenes, I would create music.
Okay.
Or I would work with, for example, Sham, like we did like a couple of songs together.
Okay.
I was a guest appearance on his album. I songwrited some of his album, like there was like, I think 3-4 songs that I ended up writing it and producing it as well with him, going with him to the studio. And so these are the things that I was doing. But as far as like
you dropping
my
your own music?
Yeah. There was a time that I had to like really select what I want to do now, like really now focus on the back to the corporate world. That's one thing that I wanted to, you know, sort of like, you know, have that as my top priority.
Okay, that's interesting. Like, I also want to dive into your career path in the corporate world, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But now, in terms of music, after you took a break and you came back, what was it like?
Oh man, I didn't know how to come back in the beginning.
What do you mean?
I didn't know how to do it. I didn't get it. Like, it was 2016 when I first got a message from Triple B. 2016, like very late 2016. And he just sends me a message like, what kind of beat are you looking for? That's how it started, by the way.
Okay.
Very random. Triple B's not one of those guys that goes back and forth with you on chats. He's just straight to the point,
Nice.
And I'm like, whoa, okay. What kind of beat are you looking for? Because we were friends on Facebook. That's it. Like, I've never met this guy, and we probably never spoke. And I think Drake's album was out that time. Views from the Six.
Okay.
He had this record called Controller.
Was it that one?
No, Views from the Six it was not. I think it was not that one. I think it was one of those that he's sitting down and he's looking at the views and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he had this song, amazing song called Controller. And that's when I liked that song. So I'm like, all right, I sent it to him. I'm like, this is the song that I like, and this is the song that I'm listening to now. If you can get me something similar or that kind of vibe, it would be great. Haven't had a word from him until like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks later. He sends me a snippet of a beat. I'm like, whoa.
Nice.
And I was on a trip actually. I was going to the field. I was on a field visit actually, and I had my headphones. I'm like, what, And I just kept on listening to it again and again. As soon as I picked up the phone and gave him a call, I'm like, I need to hit the studio like ASAP. And I think days later, went to his place, and I had like massive beats, like showed me a list of beats, and I was listening to it, and we didn't record nothing, but it was just that vibe. I just needed to get back, and it started from there. So I started going to his place like maybe once, twice a week, listen to beats, and then he started sending me beats, and the difficult part was, getting back to the writing, because I stayed disconnected for a while. Now it's like, how am I gonna do this? And then, funny enough, like everything just started happening organically, because I said, all right, let me listen to the previous records I used to do, and I'm not gonna do the same, because music changes, right? It evolves, but at least get some of the flows that I had on this sound, and I can somehow relate, to this new sound that Triple B gave me or sent me those beats. And we just started from there, started writing, and I think I wrote like 4 songs or something in a couple of weeks, I think, 3 to 4 songs if I'm not mistaken. And started recording from there, but I didn't release anything, or just some songs ended up getting scratched. Some songs ended up releasing later on my EP the following year. Like 2018 was like the comeback. So imagine the whole year of 2017, I was trying to discover myself once again. How am I gonna do it? What is Spotify? What is Apple Music? What is all these platforms? I had to do some studies. Yeah. Till today, I'm figuring out on these platforms. I didn't get it. All I knew was YouTube and SoundCloud. So yeah, 2018 when I made the comeback, it was in Jan, and I made it I started announcing 2017 I'm gonna be making a comeback and this and that, but then I said let me be strategic about it just a little bit, and let me release the record on the radio, officially. So I contacted Oman FM. Shout out to Oman FM. They always come through.
Okay.
And they were like, yeah, let's play it, let's launch it here.
Nice.
And let's make let's make it like a launch event in the radio station of that single. It's just one single. It was Shine, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Shine,
It's a banger.
So, and we made it like that, and then DJs supported it as well. People started everyone, the support was not expected. I did not expect that support.
Okay.
people were posting and posting and posting, and I'm like, wow. All right, fine. Let's. I love the energy, you know, and definitely everyone showed love.
I think it was
That's
even
it.
on an ad, or was that a different track?
No, I think that was a different track. That was
Okay.
a different track. But this one was like, okay, now we're back. We need to do something about it.
Okay.
2 months later, we shot the video in Dubai. Literally, like I did not waste time.
Okay.
I was like, if this is the love and the support is there. By the way, not everyone liked the record because I was getting mixed reviews on the record and the artwork as well. Like these are all like constructive feedbacks, right? Like I sat down with some of the like the generation, today's generation, right? As far as knowing about artwork, social media, and some of them are actually like graduate holders, like degree holders on these fields, and they told me that, you know, this artwork looks outdated.
Okay.
I was getting these feedbacks. Someone told me the record would have sounded nice if it was released 5 years ago. I was getting like different feedbacks, but you know what? I was listening to these feedbacks. I was like appreciating the fact that they're being honest. I was like, all right, okay, I need to step up. Like maybe my lyrics were not, you know, on point. Maybe the beat, selecting of the beat was not the beat that sounds relevant today. Like all these other things, but regardless, I'm like, I'm gonna shoot a video of this song. So let the video speak later. And yeah, we shot it in Dubai, and once the video was out, I think everyone, you know,
They could
they
see it.
They saw it different now.
They saw it different.
Definitely,
Yeah.
you know. So there some people took it back on what they've mentioned earlier on,
Yeah.
and some people were like, okay, the video really made the track now.
Yeah. It made
You know?
sense.
Yeah, you know, you guys showed up, everyone was there, it was good energy, you know. One full day, if you remember,
Yes.
yeah. I talk about it till today sometimes when I come across different people that are like, oh, what's the one thing, if you go back as far as your music journey or videos that you've released, and I was like, that Shine video. The energy, the friends, the guys, it was a movie, honestly.
All right. In terms of, what do you think of the music scene right now?
Right now, as far
in
as
comparison to, like, I don't know,
now, to be
15
honest,
years ago.
I really pick the artists I listen to now. I can't listen to all these artists that release songs every other week or every other month. It sounds the same, to be honest. I think that's one thing that we can all agree to, that a lot of the sounds today sounds the same, you know. And I would listen to it, but I would not go back to listen to it again. I'll probably listen to it once, you know. And today's era, it's a single. Like everyone just focuses on singles as opposed to putting out albums. Like this is the era that we're in today. So I do understand that consistency, you know, plays a big role. But as far as the music now, it's like hip hop, I'm very picky with what I listen to. Because if records don't really have content, then, you know, I can't really relate to it. Can't really
No, I'm
listen
saying,
to
but
it.
what about the scene of the artists right now? Because right now it's different. Now there are different artists here in Oman. Like,
Oh, we're talking about here?
yes.
Okay,
yes.
I was under
At
the
the time it
impression-
was just us, but
I
now
was
it's
under the
different.
impression like worldwide.
No,
yani,
no,
you
no.
know.
Now we have, mashallah, we have Chase.
No, yeah, there's a
Adam
lot of
Nabil,
there's a lot of great artists now.
I don't know much, to be honest.
To be honest, I have them on my album. I have some of them on my album. To be honest, you know, like it's great artists, great talents. Everyone is everyone sounds different, and everyone is like I can see the artists that are consistent, you know, And also, I think, and this is what I keep telling them whenever I speak to them, whether it's on Instagram or wherever it is that just don't stop, you know, just continue releasing records, because now you have these platforms that are available that you can be put on playlists and get massive streams, you know. And I think as far as hip hop, you know, rap in Arabic became the thing now. You know, that was not there before.
Yeah, Arabic hip hop grew.
Yes, you know, Arabic hip hop is, you know, especially when I went to Riyadh last year, oof, I was like, wow, okay, I think I need to switch. I need to rap in Arabic, because you know it's really appreciated and people go crazy.
Nice.
You know, and I ran into artists that were like I never knew they existed. You know, and we had like direct interaction with these artists. You know, and then you have Oman as well. Oman, there's a number of artists that rap in Arabic, which I'm in contact with, which I've recorded with as well. So it's definitely something that's picking up, you know. And if I had to, you know, say what's the scene like today, that's definitely the drive, you know, rap in Arabic. You know, like it's first of all it's the language, you know, it's the native language, and second of all it's also something that did not stand out before, and now it's there.
And culturally, you think like now there's more
People
acceptance.
will relate. Yeah, people will relate to it. Like if you rap in Arabic, you rap about the things that you know, for example, your day to day and things that you go through, and something that, you know, the community can relate to. It's definitely like the one thing that I tell people, like if this is what you're doing and the rise of the community is there, the support, just continue doing it, you know?
All right. And I want to switch now to your corporate career, right? I'll go back in time and want to ask probably a very difficult question.
Yeah.
What do you feel was the growth that happened in you after Marhuma passed away, when your mom passed away, Allah yarhamha?
Allah yarhamha.
What kind of growth do you feel happened?
You know what? At that time when it happened, 2003, I remember it was devastating, obviously, and it was something that, because I was 18 years old, so I won't say that I was prepared for it, but because the last couple of months, you know, I witnessed a lot, like throughout I was there, right? So, you know, I said, all right, I need to, in my own way, at some point, I'll need to man up, you know, and find a path and so on. But at the same time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, you know, you need to do something, but you don't know what you want to do.
How to do it.
So I was like all over the place. And when it happened, I think I was on my I think I was on my second semester of college,
Uni.
yes. And I had finished maybe a year later. So so that was like, you know, keeping me busy. I was still like studying at that point. But the situation was difficult because, you know, one, my dad was working out of town. My sisters were studying as well abroad. It was just me and my brother. And like you guys, you know, families, certain cousins would come through and we would just hang out. Like, so support was there, you know, without us realizing that we have people that were coming, and we were sort of like getting us distracted with what just happened. But at the same time, it was super difficult because you don't know what you have no direction. You don't know what you want to do now. What's next? Finished my college. It was diploma at that point. I couldn't, you know, continue with my degree. So I was like, should I travel? Should I find ways to like enroll to another college to do my degree? I was just like that mixed feeling, like you don't know what's next. That's how I was. And I was like communicating with my sisters. And subhanAllah, like everything happens for its reason. One fine day, I run into Nader, and he tells me about this company that, a telecom company that's coming to Oman, and they will be needing people. So, funny enough, after that happened, Ali was telling me the same thing because he knew about it.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, let's go and apply. Let's see. And trust me, we had no intention of working. It was just like, I think Ali was looking for a job, but I just had finished my studies and I was at home literally doing nothing at that point of time, We went, we sent our papers, Those days, it was all about hard copies, obviously. And then after that, we get a call and we had an assessment to do. It was general English assessment. And we get called for an interview, like hours later. And that's when everything started. Like, it was my first interview. I don't know what to expect. I walk in one room, Ali walks on the other room. It was like two head of departments. Sit down, and the first thing she tells me, she's like, all right, what questions do you have for me? I'm like, I said, okay, I want to know about the company.
Like, how old were you at this point?
I was 18.
Okay.
18, turning 19, something like that. It's like, what questions do you have for me? Like, okay. Can you tell me about the company? I just want to know about the company. And she kept on saying, oh, the company is this and that. Kept on telling me details about it. She's like, what other questions do you have? I'm like, okay, the role or the position that I'll be working, or hopefully I'll be working for, what? It's like, it's customer service, back office, you'll be doing this and that. And like, what other questions do you have? And we just kept on going like that, Maybe 2-3 questions I think it lasted, and then she's like, all right. She's like, okay, you walk in here, I don't expect you to know what you want. However, your English is good, you speak well, and she started telling me about the offer. She started telling me about things that in my head I'm like, wait a minute, did I get this job or what now? And the timings, and she's giving me information that I walked out of the room. Ali walked out of the room more or less. It was the same time, and I'm like, I think I got it. It's like, I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. And his was a bit similar, but maybe, I don't know. I can't remember exactly how his was. We go to my place. We get a call. Your offer is there. Come sign.
Fantastic.
That was a starting point, and I think starting in the company, it's a new world, new people, and I had no idea anything about corporate world. So I was taking things very lightly. And that one situation, after taking it lightly by, for example, when I mean lightly, like if I feel tired, I'll just leave. I'll come late. I'll tell, like, you know what, I'm going to go home right now after lunch. And the guys will be like, I didn't get all these things until I was put in a corner or in a meeting room, let's say, and I was told, listen, there's something called probation period. So you need to really watch yourself and pay attention as far as these things that you choose to do or decide on your own is not acceptable. And then I made up this excuse. I'm like, yeah, I had to go to the dentist, and I could tell that the manager was like, yeah, right. But after that, everything changed.
Okay.
Yeah, everything changed, and that's when I said, you know what? Okay, this is definitely something new for me, and I really need to take it serious. And I started like realizing that I'm actually like.
But I guess if
responsibilities are there now. So when you have responsibility, it's part of growth now. You have your payments that you need to do on monthly basis. For example,
Yeah, your lifestyle
supporting
has
at
already
home.
changed.
Exactly, supporting at home, like
You're
with the
contributing.
finance part, contributing exactly, and
You didn't want it to stop.
all these other things just started like, and I was like, this was like 2005, I think, and I just started like growing up without realizing that okay, now on monthly basis, this is my paycheck, and I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was not easy in the beginning because sometimes you kind of like spend it all
Rinse it
on
out.
on the first 2 weeks. But then as I started like realizing, okay, I need to support, I need to contribute. At one point you would want to buy something nice for yourself, so you need to spend
Sure.
X amount. So this is how things just started, and then coming across different colleagues, supervisors, managers, and learning from them.
And then
So-
what was the next job you moved to?
I moved to the banking sector after I left. After the telecom, I moved to the banking sector because I wanted to continue my studies.
What year was this?
This was 2008.
Oh, like
Yeah.
during the recession.
Yes.
That's supposed to be like the
The recession, was it 2008 or 2009? Was it? I think it was 2009.
2008.
Yeah.
No, it was 2008.
Okay,
Because I was
okay.
supposed to get hired in Dubai.
Oh,
I had already done my tests, assessment,
yeah.
everything with NBD Bank before Emirates Bank and NBD Bank merged.
Yeah.
And I had already done the interview. They offered me a supervisor position.
Oh, nice.
And they're like, all right, we're going to call you. And a month goes, nothing, month and a half. And then instead of them hiring me, they started closing branches.
Oh,
That's when I was like, okay,
wow.
yeah, there goes my position. So
it was
it was
2008 probably,
2008.
yeah.
I was
Okay,
very
okay.
positive.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it was also a tough time for
was
for the banks.
There was a lot of cost reduction. There was a lot of like it impacted. I didn't really realize it because I'm new, but the people that were there like years ago, it definitely impacted them. But I joined, and honestly, it was barely 100 riyals.
Difference.
Yeah, but at that time it was good, and for the most part, was the timings. Because I was working, or we were working in a place that it was all about shifts.
Yeah.
You leave work at 12, you have to wake up next day, go to college. Then sometimes you have work at 4. Like, it did not work my schedule. In fact, I remember enrolling, and I completed one semester. The next semester, I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. I can't, So the banking really helped me. Like, it shaped up as far as my corporate, my studies, my music. It was like literally one after another, because it would be 8 to 3 work, 5 to 8:30 college, 8:30 to 10 or 10:30 studio. So that was
At least you have a routine.
my routine, yeah. And then there would be days I'll go to the gym, because college would not be every day. It was like 3 times a week, because I was doing part-time.
Okay.
So that was like the journey of the banking. It really helped me. It definitely got me to where I am as far as completing my studies as well.
And then you worked, in 2 banks?
2 banks, yeah. So I left the local bank. I joined a foreign bank, and again, this was a new role, because retail to corporate is 2 different things.
Okay.
And it improved. One thing, if I go back, that I've really learned in this foreign bank, my business writing. It
Okay.
really got my writing skills to another level. Alhamdulillah, it improved. It definitely did.
Okay.
Because it was, it's a lot of writing. It's a lot of like analysis, and being in corporate, there's a lot of comparison you need to do with the financial statements and so on. So, I didn't have any idea of of all these things in the previous bank. Then when I joined this bank, it was like, okay, you need to write. You need to express the pen, you know, just literally like, you know, put the efforts on the writing, you know. So yeah.
And then from the bank, what was your next move?
Oil and gas. So that's when I joined. So like the banking was
Why
a
did
lot
you
of,
move?
I was done with banking. I think when I realized that now I have my degree.
Okay. You had completed your degree.
Exactly. I was done with my degree, graduated. I was like, all right, now I'll definitely have opportunities in the oil and gas. Because first of all, as far as being in the corporate world, that was one thing that I always wanted, you know? It's the growth of the sector, يعني overall, يعني هنا في عمان. And at the same time, I know that I can, يعني, you know, move, let's say, from one place to another, department to another. But with banking, after some time, at least is the way I look at it. Like, you learn a lot, but it's like that same routine after some time. This is the way I look at it.
In fact, it was repetitive.
Yeah. Okay, you would go to different departments, but again, the objective is customer service. The objective is, you know, selling all these products and so on. So the oil and gas was like something that alhamdulillah, it happened at the right time because I just
Was
graduated.
it like a similar role or?
No, it was totally different.
Okay.
It was HR. So,
Interesting.
you know, a lot of movements, a lot of different roles.
But that comes with its challenges.
It does. And
How did you deal with it?
and you know, these things, I don't think of it as challenges when I make these decisions. Funny enough.
Interesting.
Believe it or not, I just take it like I'll do it. You know, if I did it in that job, I'll do it in this job. If I did it, and that's how I go. So I didn't want to overthink because I ran into one of my friends who's like, you know, you just keep taking risks. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, no, you just keep moving. He's like, I know. He's like, Salim, I admire that. But, you know, keep in mind, one, it's not good for your resume, the way you just keep moving. You look like a salary grabber.
I mean,
Okay.
I think times have changed.
Times have changed, and it's not like I leave every 6 months.
No.
I spend years. Second of all, he's like, at the same time, you need to consider the whole starting from the beginning. I'm like, yeah, but I did it on my last job, and I did it previously, so I can do it, you know? He's like, all right, you know, good luck, you know? موفق إن شاء الله. So when I joined the oil and gas, that was a massive change, to be honest. And again, you know, I start in a place that there was like no handover or nothing. The guy had left already.
Ouch.
And I was working with someone that was about to move to another department.
Okay.
So my manager was like, oh, you have 1 week with this guy because he's going to move to a new department. So he's like, just take everything and make sure that you get it because there's a lot expected from you. I was like, all right. And I remember I came to work because it was Thursday, right? And then I told him, like, listen, is it possible for us to meet on Friday at work or pick any place because I still need to understand a few things.
Okay.
And we met. On Friday, we met because it was a weekend, obviously, but I felt like I needed to dedicate my time because this guy is going to move. And then once someone moves, that whole transition, you know, it's like, yeah, but you can reach out to me. I'm like, no, I just want to get everything from you now. I will reach out to you when you go to another department, but I don't want to make
In
it
person,
very, yeah.
it's different.
And we made it happen. And I think the learning that I got was, you know, one, the manager isolated himself from the team. Like, he was one of those that, yeah, he has an open door policy, but he's in his office all the time. You would go to him and he would say, okay, I'll send you this and go through it. I'll send you that and go through it. Bro, I didn't understand what is HR development specialist. What is my role? He just told me one thing. He's like, revisit your job description. Like, okay, I can do that, but I need to know what other things that are expected. So then, step by step, like, okay, you need to submit like a compliance report on a weekly basis. You need to do so on and so forth on this. But then, when something came up, there was an email that was circulated to all HR development specialists, like same as my job title, about a training taking place. And the training was called Competency Development Framework. And it was taking place in Frankfurt.
Okay.
And it's a very...
Back to Germany.
Yeah, it was my first time going to Germany, actually, at that time.
Okay.
You know, and it was a very complex program, you know, and there was a lot of information that I would get out of this program as soon as I opened just the objective and to get a quick view of it. Went up to my manager, told him I want to attend this session. Because attending this session, it was part of like the organization's KPI. So everyone had to be competent, and based on being competent, there's a number of things that they need to do. And attending the training will, like people attending this training will help them understand the competency requirements, etc., and all these other things. So I wanted to get into this field, like as far as training these employees, going to the field and traveling and so on. He said, all right, like go ahead, just work with the admin team to get your documents processed as far as the visa and all that. They were laid back, so I decided to just do everything, like literally took that step and went to the embassy on my own, got my visa, checked flights. There was a direct flight from Muscat to Frankfurt. Told my manager, okay, the training's on this date. Oman Air flies on this date. It's a direct flight. And he's like, is this a one-way trip? Or I'm like, no. I'm like, I just want to show you that I want to do this, Just approve this session and, let me get this program done, let me make it happen. And we ended up traveling, and I found out there was another guy from Oman that was coming as well. So my manager told me to coordinate with the guy that's also coming, and we ended up meeting up at the airport, attended the training, and I could think it was the first day, and that was like something, I don't know, that's where I kind of like got shocked with what I saw.
Right.
It was a culture shock because so many experienced individuals there, and everyone was at least on an average of 10 years, 15 years experience in the company, basically, and in a specific field as well. So we had a round table, everyone was introducing themselves, and then my part came, like everyone was like, so-and-so, this department, X amount of years, the next person. When it came to me, I was like, okay, Salim Ghalib, HR development, 1 month completed. Or it was my third week. And
wow.
Like the two lecturers at that time just looked at each other. They're like, you just completed 1 month in the company? I'm like, yeah. They're like, all right, can you give us your line manager's user ID and name? And he's like, no, you can do it later, after the class. I'm like, okay, fine. And then later on, while there was like a lunch break, and so I was talking to one of the instructors, and he was like, you do know that this training, there was a prerequisite before attending, right? I'm like, no. Like, okay. You do know that you need X amount of years to be part of this program, but he was saying it in a nice way. He was not like going at me, but he was quite surprised that how did I get recommended? But I said, really, I had no idea. And whatever the case is, I'll make sure that I learn from all these experienced individuals here. I'll make the most of it because I don't want to disappoint my manager because he's counting on me. I need to come back and get this certification. It's like, yeah, no worries. We'll walk you through the program, but you just need to make sure that it's going to be a tough 2 weeks, a lot of learning, and we'll get back to you with other things and what are the tips we can give. What are the tips we can give you as far as you improving yourself in this coming period? I said, all right, fine. So, like I said, I knew one of the guys that came from Oman, and I was like, all right, let me sit down with this guy. I met him at the airport, but now we kind of built sort of a friendship, The bond was there already. And I was like, listen, I need to sit down with you after the class.
Mm.
He's like, yeah, sure. It happened the first day. We finished class at 5:30. I'm in his room till like probably 9. And he would walk me through the slides. Oh, take me down on every point. That next day, the same thing, third day. And I felt like I was taking a lot of his time, but I apologize. I'm like, listen, I know I'm taking your time, but I really need to get this done. Really, I'm like, trust me, your support is needed.
Bless him. I mean, he didn't need to.
He didn't, to be honest, but he did.
Yeah.
Probably there'll be 1 or 2 days he did not for whatever reason, but for the most part, he was always there because we had to go the following week to conduct the training. So now it was like 2 weeks. So straight up 10 days. I think the last 2 days is like the revision part. On the 13th day, you need to conduct it.
Okay.
In front of employees, managers. But it was not in Frankfurt because the training was in Frankfurt, but the location of the office was in a place called Celle, I think.
Okay.
3.5 hours from Frankfurt. So we took a train, we went there, and then the next day or 2 days later, we had to conduct the session in front of the instructors and a bunch of employees.
Going to be put to the test.
Yeah, that's how you get certified.
Okay.
So I was fortunate to sit down with the instructor before this presentation or before this session. And he just walked me through on the things that I need to focus on, look at, present, because it's also your presentation skills. It's not just about the module, right?
Of course.
And I was not there yet. Like he would just avoid looking on every single slide, just be you, relax. Kept on giving me all these sort of tips. So once that took place, alhamdulillah, I was obviously nervous in the beginning, but then it just, things just started taking place.
Do you feel like your background as a musician and performing,
it helped.
It helps?
Yeah,
when
that
you give presentations?
Stage fright and it's not there, you can go to places or be in front of a crowd and present very calmly and just being you.
Okay.
So that helped. I think that was it was a plus point actually.
Mm.
Being on stage and performing, and then now the role of being a trainer. It really just made life easy, I would say, as far as being comfortable in front of the crowd. Yeah.
And then you did another change, or you stayed in the same company?
No, I stayed there for some years. The learning was definitely above my expectation, to be honest. Everything that I learned is something that I witnessed on myself today in the first company that I've been on for at least 3.5 years, I would say.
Okay.
HR, and then I moved, I did different roles in HR, but for the most part it was training development, because coming back, receiving that certification allowed me to get more certificates after a month, and then again and again, because that was my role. I had to get certified, train the trainer so I can conduct the same to the team.
Like how many?
I think there was at least 10.
What, in the same year?
10 in less than a year.
Less than a year.
10 certification, yeah.
Wow.
Some were like small modules. Yeah, it was not a big or heavy module like the one I went to in Frankfurt.
Okay.
But it was different, and I would go to Abu Dhabi, I'll go to Dubai, I'll go to like different places and get certified, come back and conduct it to the team. So that was my role actually. And that lasted for at least a good couple of years until I moved to another oil and gas company and started another role.
Different role.
Different role.
Man.
Started a different role, yeah.
Talk about stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, it was just a different role, and similarities were there, but it was a new role in the market. Very new role in the market. Local content, ICV.
You remember your thoughts
In country value.
when you first joined?
ICV? I was under the impression that it's very basic, very
In what
doable.
sense? Oh, okay.
I was under the impression that I just need to report numbers, like just box ticking and compliance, and at the same time, serve or meet clients' expectation and so on. But then because again, no experience, so I had to learn, and I was the only one that was doing that job in the company.
Okay.
No one else. And no one has a clue about it. So I come and obviously I need to do my part. So I was like, all right, now how am I going to do this now? I decided to, partner with the client as far as not just emails and phone calls, but I would go to the client's office on a weekly basis, sometimes twice a week. To the point they were like, you should just have an office next to us. Because they would see my face like all the time. I would go sit down with them and they would tell me, this is what you need to do. That, no, it's not this. No, this calculation is not like this. No, you got it wrong. Come back, we'll discuss. I just go back and go back and go back until this is when I realized that they appreciated, because there was a meeting that we had, like a team meeting, and then they said, the most person that visits our office is Salim. Despite him not having the full background of the contract obligations, but he's always here. So I think you guys should come often like how he comes. Because that's how it works, right? You need, it's partnership. It's not like client contractor, no, it's partners. You both have an objective to achieve a common goal, So that was hard. Like first 6 months, it was really difficult. And I started getting the whole of it later on, but then my work started increasing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have anyone reporting to me, but I just, learned to have a great partnership with the client.
Okay.
So tomorrow, if there's anything, they know where I'm coming from. At the same time, visit them often, align with them, and so on. So, and this is what I believe when it comes to, as far as like the corporate world, is ensuring that you're on the same page with the team. By all means, it's aligning, it's meeting their expectation. And one thing that I would ask is when, let's say I'm requested to do something, because I'll know that I might not be familiar with it or I might not have the information right now, but I'll just say like, okay, when do you need this? Oh, I'll need it by end of this week. All right, done. For whatever reason, if you can, you just let them know. Because the role that I was in is more being a facilitator than doing or getting the data on your own. Like you have to facilitate with a number of departments. There's finance, there's supply chain, there's projects, it's a huge task that you need to do. So I think that's where I realized, okay, this does need a hands-on person as far as really engaging with the team. It's not just about sending an email and you get the data and you just plug the numbers. It doesn't work like that. There's like constant follow-ups, constant meetings. And when you get these numbers, it's not about you, because you're reporting them, right? So you need to go back and check, okay, why am I reporting this? Or what is it exactly that I'm reporting? So you need to get the breakdowns of each. So it was a lot of good learning, great exposure, and it made me move to another company with the same role.
Okay.
I think it was the first time I'm doing that. Like,
Okay.
switch companies, exactly the same role.
Okay.
Massive project, but it's the same role that I was doing in the previous company.
Okay.
And that's when I got to move to Duqm, to work for this mega project. And I was doing the same thing, except,
On a bigger scale.
bigger scale, exactly.
And then did you stick to the same job after that?
Yeah, I stayed on it for 7 years, longest role I've ever stayed in.
Okay.
Till this year, funny enough, because I started in 2016 till this year.
Okay.
So now I moved to another role.
Different role.
Different
again.
role. Different role, yeah. Just recently, actually.
What would you say is what drives you to do that?
Honestly, is just commitment, like
To what?
commitment to deliver, commitment to, prove, that I can do this, I can switch, I can, adapt. You learn as you go. There's nothing that I would say like, oh, I can't do it, or this is not possible. No. Like, get your hands dirty, go all out. And I think, like, long term, right? When I look back, I'm almost 20 years now since I started working. So it's like different roles, very diverse. So in my head, I'm like, I'm on the right track as far as making these moves. And what drives me to go is that tomorrow, when I want to have my own sort of platform or my own sort of consultancy or whatever, I've been through all these fields,
Okay.
different sectors, and my resume speaks for itself. So
Having hands-on experience.
correct,
Mm.
different sectors, different roles, local content, HR,
Customer service.
customer service, both retail, corporate, customer service in the telecom. So it's a very wide experience,
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard this side of you.
No.
And usually, I think most of interviews is mainly just about
I'm glad
SG
actually
making music.
I think it's the first interview that we're actually touching on my corporate role.
Yeah, I
Because-
think it's important to understand.
Yeah,
Your mindset.
and the thing is, okay, as much as I enjoy music, but I do enjoy what I'm doing as
Okay.
well. I do enjoy moving, learning, and working with a team. Like, it's something that I passionately really enjoy it. It's not just about getting my salary end of the month and that's it. No, I enjoy what I'm doing, and it's all about having the right leadership as well. The people that you're reporting to, the people that are within your department as well, because that also what drives you, by the way. When you have a great leadership as well.
And I think you also, from what I observed from you, is that you're a good learner. You when you go and seek information, let's say from a mentor or from a
Yeah.
leader, you know how to keep your cup empty while you're going to learn from that person. Because
Yeah,
a lot of
yes.
people can struggle with that if I go with the mindset that I already know about this, then it limits how much I can learn from the other person.
True. Very true.
So I think that's something you do well, is that, you can leave what you already know aside so you can maximize how much you can learn from the other person.
Definitely. Definitely. And, you always need to keep in mind that, you learn from everyone. It's not like, okay, this is your line manager, that means that's the only person that you go back to. And, it's also your team. And now when I work with my team, for example, I always go back and ask them for my understanding. What was the previous practice that was been done? Share me your thoughts. As opposed to, no, we need to do this, we need to change
One
that.
way, just from up till down.
Yeah. Because in this new role, like I have a team and I go back to them, for suggestions, for them telling me how things were done before, how can we improve things, and so on, just empower them, speak. And end of the day, I don't think there's right and wrong. Like, if this is what you guys think is right, then let's do this. Or sometimes when I get questioned, I'll be like, all right, what do you think about it? Or what would you do? Or I would, and you'd be surprised. What they say is a fact. It makes sense.
A lot of times what they say
Yeah.
are good ideas.
Yes. No, I think we should do this. And then I'm like, okay, maybe we can do this with a little done. Because they know the answers sometimes, right? They know the answers.
If you allow them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you allow them. So I'll be like, no, you tell me what do you think? Because sometimes, to be honest, bro, I'll be like, again, I'm new in this role. I need to also understand from the end. I can't be like, no, now I'm here and no. So months pass and now I realize, okay, I'm processing it. I'm processing it more now, and I'm like, okay, certain changes can take place. Certain things shall improve. We need to look into a different picture now. We've been doing this for so long and it's working, but why don't we do something? So all these things come with time. So whenever I move to another role or whatever, I try to take things in phases, in doses, as opposed to running around and making, calling shots quick. And because you can do all that, but then it can backfire as well. You set yourself with so much expectation and you drive and you're spending X amount of time doing so many things, but that might not be the
Most efficient
objective, not sufficient, and that might not be the goal of the company or the KPI of your management.
As you said, it's very important to be aligned.
Definitely.
Okay.
And I learned that this, of course, comes with experience, but as I go, I always follow the direction of the business. Some things can wait. It's not a priority, but the direction of the business, let's say, starting next year would be X amount of things. Okay, this is our direction. So based on that, this should be the department's KPI. Full stop. So, and then we just work towards achieving our KPI as we go. And everything else, like the day-to-day, these are things that you can obviously delegate. These are things that can be done in a different way and so on.
All right, on a final note, if there are 3 things you've learned, from your experience, a person should focus on to be a high performer, what would they be?
If it's 3 different things, I think I would definitely put commitment for one, honestly, because commitment comes with staying true to yourself, taking matters very serious, etc. Teamwork, I'll put teamwork as well as part of the, definitely. You can't do everything alone. You need to delegate, like I mentioned earlier. You need to trust and empower your team. Let them take the lead as well. And I'd say courage also. Yeah. Definitely.
Those are very three powerful things for a person to focus on.
Courage is one thing, because without taking the courage, you can be in, stuck in your little bubble and, sort of just pull the back seat all the time and, definitely. I would like there is more that I could list, but I would say these are the three things that really help or really shaped me as far as who I am today, alhamdulillah. Being in the corporate or music or, I think the music was, the teamwork in music was not really there at one point as far as, but...
I mean, you learned as you were going.
Yeah, and that was the gap. I knew that I had that gap, by the way.
Okay.
It's a team. Because it's not really easy to shape or have a team.
Yeah, I mean, to delegate to...
No.
It's not.
It's not.
Especially if you're a perfectionist and you really care about...
It's easy said than done when people tell you, oh, you need to have a team. Fine, we know that. But is it easy? I had a team at one point, but it failed miserably. For whatever reason. I would not blame it on them. I would not blame it on me, but it was just, we were just not on the same page.
Salim, this has been a great session. I think it was well needed. One. I think, the people from the music industry, especially here in Oman and, in Khalij, it's important for them to know, your journey, where it all started and your progression.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful
you shared with
us.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for having me. And this was definitely a good one, or should I say, a needed one.
Well needed. Appreciate it, brother.